before. It's got my mind racing, thinking thoughts I shouldn't be thinking. So many things went wrong, so many friends have gone. I've been hurting for so long, for so long, but I won't give up, I won't quit. I'm not built that way. It'd be so easy, I admit. I'm not built that way.
You know, it's just like, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it's like when we did our conversation on mine, you know, it's just like, you know, you don't even really pay attention to the time, because it's just like it's like it becomes like a therapy session between two vets just sharing, you know, what their struggles are, and, you know, keeping each other sober, and
Common
know,
experience. Common
yeah,
experience.
yeah.
It's amazing how this works, and why it works. You know, I was just talking with a buddy this morning. He's going through a rough time, divorced. The lady moved in with, you know, the new boyfriend. The new boyfriend's 20 years older. We all knew everybody. He's been doing some shady shit, and, you know, been lying to me about stuff. And he came out this morning and just says, I haven't been completely honest with you. And I just went, no shit. What do you think? It's my first day talking to an addict. Come on, dude. I fucking know what's going on, you know? And then that ended up lasting for 30 plus minutes, you know? And it was just, he just needed to tell somebody, because he was holding on to secrets, you know, and he had to let them go. And, you know, I think he's better now. I know I'm better because I helped somebody and I got reminded where I didn't want to be again.
Yeah.
You know, and he was smart enough to pick up the phone and call somebody, me, who's been through that situation, and I can relay what I did. And he asked me yesterday if I would coach him. I'm like, I'll coach you, but if you're not going to listen, I'm out. You know, you're not going to ask me the same thing a half a dozen times. You're going to do what I tell you to do, or, you know, I can't do the work for you. And I think that's one of the big things of any 12-step based program, AA, CA, NA, sex addicts, whatever. It's number one, you need to be 100% honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
What are my, and dude, that fourth and fifth step, for those of you that don't know, you take an inner assessment of yourself and all the people that you've harmed and the wrong that you've done. And you're kind of confessing sins, and you're asked to do that with someone that you trust, not just write them down, but to release that to somebody else, typically your sponsor.
Verbalize it.
Yeah, verbalize it, put it out there, and it makes it real. And when you say it, I don't want to say validated by the other person, but we are
it loses its power on you, I think.
It does.
You know?
That's a great way to put it. Right.
You know?
That's a great way to put it. It loses its power over us because somebody else knows about it. So it's out of my hands now, right? It's out of my hands. And just, I had this one guy one time who he was hanging on to something so tight, he just wouldn't let it go. And I don't remember his name, and I wouldn't use it if I did anyway. But I just looked at him, and we'll call him Tom. And I said, Tom, that thing that you're holding on to, I said, put it in your hand. And he started laughing. I said, no, seriously, that thing that you're holding on to, take it from this hand and put it in this hand. And I want you to hold on to it so fucking tight that your knuckles turn white. I said, just hold on to it as tight as you can. And I said, does it make you mad to hold on to that? And he goes, yeah, it's pissing me off. I said, then throw it the fuck away. Throw it down as hard as you can right now and never think about it again. And he laughed and he giggled. And I'm like, bro, I'm dead serious. I've done it. I can't take this anymore. I don't want it. And you throw it away and it's gone. I don't want this.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's gone.
Drop the rock.
Drop the rock. He called me a couple of weeks later and he's like, you know, this sounds stupid, but I did what you said and I haven't thought about it since. And I just had to call and tell you, you know, to be able to listen to somebody with the similar experiences, same type of background, you know, F-14s, you know, watching a buddy just disappear. I don't have that aspect. What I do have is I, I took the guys home that were killed the night before, just hours before I got there, and they'd already had their rooms cleaned out and their personal effects packed up. And I don't think it was 3 hours, and they were on my airplane and we had to take them home. You know, that's what I have. And my traumas are not being able to get home when I needed to be, and to realize that I was right where I was supposed to be when I was there.
Yeah.
And you know, my kids turning out okay, even though I was gone for all those years. And I say gone, but you know, obviously I wasn't gone for 14 years straight. I was home, gone. But that takes a
Yeah.
toll, you know, it takes a toll on a lot of things. And sobriety definitely helped me understand that, and to not be so hard on ourselves, because we're 10 times harder than ourselves than anybody else would be.
Yeah.
You
And
just
you had me thinking of something too with, you know, I drawing a friggin' blank now. The, you know, like, why, you know, when we're looking back at why we were in certain situations and why we went
Mhm.
through, like, but we were there because we needed to be, you know, that was, we were serving a purpose and we didn't see it at the time. We were like, this just sucks. This is awful. Like, especially at the beginning of my recovery and doing the fourth and fifth and looking at myself in the mirror and hating that person, like, you disgusting piece of shit. You
Yeah,
know, you did this to these people. You didn't care about their feelings. Who knows, you know, like, and you know, just like hating who I was during those early, I guess, iron sharpens iron type, you know, process or whatever. But, you know, now it's some years past there, when a new guy comes in who's telling my story, but he's in that part that sucks. You
yep,
know, like, I got a friend that's got some young kids and he's in a toxic relationship and he's afraid of, you know, leaving it because he doesn't want, you know, it to affect the kids more, even though it's like sometimes worse to stay in the situation for the kids,
right,
you know,
exactly.
and I was there too. And I was afraid, and my kids had to deal with years more of shit than they probably should have. And because I was afraid of the truths that their mother was telling them about who I was
Right,
at those times, you know, and I needed to convince my kids otherwise. But as I've been in this program, I'm showing my kids that I'm a changed person and I'm not that person anymore. They see it constantly. And now in the rear, you know, now where we're at today, the relationship I have with them today, you know, I mean, it's can always get better, you know, but
but it's greater than you ever thought it could be, is it
yeah,
not?
yeah. And they want to come
Yes,
talk to me when things get
yes,
bad. They're like, they've even said in family sessions before, it's just like, I feel more comfortable going to talk to my dad now because of
yeah,
the work that I've done on myself and where I'm at, you know, and not down, you know, not trying to kick on their mom or anything like that. But there's some work she refuses to do because she doesn't think she's as jacked up as us, which is cool. You know, I don't think she is as jacked up as us, but there's still, everybody could do some work. You know, everybody has some sort of traumas that we
but
could
that's
work
not
on.
anything that you can control. You
Yeah.
cannot force her to do
I can
anything.
just keep doing me.
That's
And
right.
it's and on the other side now, and I try and share with my friend, I'm like, dude, you're a solid person. You keep doing what you're supposed to do, the right things. Your kids are going to grow up past that phase where they've been manipulated or lied to or told maybe even the truths about you, but their
Right.
opinion's going to change because they're going to see the actions in you. So don't give up, you know?
That's right. So if my dirt boy buddy is listening to this, I hope that what Bill just said hit you and hit you deep, and you keep going and keep taking care of yourself, because eventually everything will work out and you will be better for it. And
Yeah.
there's two guys sitting here right now with years of experience behind us telling you that that's how it works out. If you just keep doing the next right thing, everything will work out.
That story's played out for us,
It is.
Like I'm not with the same sponsor anymore, but I'm grateful for the lessons that he had taught me when I was with him about, like, don't tell them you're going to be better, show them,
That's right.
and holding me to account for that. We originally, when I really started working the program and trying to, I'd been sober for a number of years, but like a dry drunk, still
Oh
behaving in
yeah.
other ways,
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
there was a point where I hadn't drank, but I'm in college and I'm sleeping with girls I'm in class with, and I'm doing this and that. And then I'm lying to my kids like, oh, hey, you got to stay over here at so-and-so's. Daddy's got to run some errands, but I'm running
Yeah.
on somebody named Aaron or whatever. I don't know, but,
Yes, I do.
and that stuff caught up with me, and they were old enough to understand that what dad was doing, and then mom's still feeding them that, and they quit living with me. This is after years of being sober and
Mhm.
part-time working a program. And I said to my sponsor, like, I want him back. And he's like, well, this is what you're going to do. You're not going to tell him, you're going to show him. And I started showing them, and we got the Life 360 apps on our phone, not so I could keep track of where they're at, so they could see that dad's where he says he's at. So when I would tell them I'm going to be at a meeting at this place, they would look on the thing. Oh, he's at this church right now, and
Mhm.
they knew I was at that meeting. And as time went on, I showed them, and then they both, the oldest moved back with me, and then the youngest followed, and now my oldest is, she's out, doing her own thing, and my youngest is still here with me, and my youngest does jujitsu with me, and she's opens up and just, vents to me about stuff that's bothering her or things that are going on, or so and so told me this, and or and it's great.
It is great. It is
I'm
great.
just
Sometimes you're like, oh my God, that's really bothering you. But then you look back and you go, you know what? When I was 18, 19, that would have bothered me too.
yeah, yeah.
I understand. I can empathize. I'm not
Like, I
turning
used to be
you
like really
away.
short with my oldest, because
Yes.
she's like, she well, let's just say she's a little extra and
She's a
stuff.
mini
So it's like,
me.
yeah, she could get into it's just like, you don't have to write a college dissertation to tell me that you're upset about this, and I'd be like, all right, can we get to the point? But, then there was the time period where she wasn't living with me and wasn't talking to me. And I
Right.
missed that college dissertation. So when she came back, I would just like turn off whatever I'm watching, all distractions, quit looking at your watch, take it all in,
Yeah.
and I mean, sometimes it slips back, but I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that you have me to on,
Unburden, unload.
yeah, unload on.
Absolutely.
And I always
Absolutely.
want to be here for you. I don't want you to ever think you don't have me
That's
here,
right.
you know?
That's right.
And that's been a part of the gifts of, working a program, and it's not just working a program for me, because as we learn, alcohol's but a symptom. We have a lot of other issues, and I've gone deep into therapy sessions to work on some of those other issues. And like I said, I'm peeling the onion and learning more. Um, and my anxiety and social skills were like not that great back then either. But the more I'm put in situations where I have to talk with people and have to unleash, my stuff, it's become made things so much easier,
I
like that's
do.
why the podcast is it's a fun hobby, but it's also it's my therapy.
Yeah.
It's
So
another form of therapy for me,
let's talk about that. That you and I both said the same thing when we were interviewing for your podcast a couple of months ago. That's our therapy, right? I get an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever, to talk with somebody who shares the same, fucked up brain that I do. And you are on you host the Today's Boondoggle on Cleveland radio, right? And
Yeah.
you do more than just veteran interviews. You do local music scenes, you do local celebrity, you do today's topics, current events, you do all kinds of stuff. It's not just a one-sided thing like mine. And I don't like to say mine's one side, it's focused. Mine's pretty focused.
Yeah. Mine's my adult ADHD, with a microphone.
But I want you, first of all, I want you to tell the story about how you got started with today's boondoggle and why it is called today's boondoggle, because I think that is a fantastic story.
All right. Yeah. So, well, originally, like I said, I, was doing the Domain Cleveland entertainment concert promotion thing here locally, booking shows, booking bands. It's like I love music. I had a lot of friends in the music industry, and but I can't, I can't. I thought I could karaoke when I was drunk, but I understand I wasn't that good at that either. I can't play a lick of music on anything. So what else did I do? How do I get involved? How do I still get in for free? Because I'm still like that scammer addict, that wants to be a part of something. So I would book
Yes.
shows and I'd book venues and form relationships with bands. And as they grew locally, and as the Domain thing grew, it did end up spreading nationally, where it's like all of a sudden I'm connected with record labels and they're sending me their advanced copies of, like Five Finger Death Punch's new album's about to come. And then years ago, back when they would send you CDs and stuff, and I'd do a review on the website, and then,
That's pretty cool, man.
get to do live coverage, or maybe interview the band in the dressing room or whatever with the handheld recorder, and then type it out, like listen to it and type it out, so people could read it on the website, where it's just like, damn it, I wish I still had that material, on audio to just, people could listen to. Some shit I still had. And that's what ended up, after the the alcohol and the drinking and everything kind of like almost sabotaged that whole thing. And when I got sober, I realized I still love, music and being a part of, entertainment and stuff like that. And now what can I do sober? Well, I already had some of these connections back when it was Domain Cleveland. Why don't I do a podcast now? Why don't I take some of these? I had some of the old interviews and I transferred them over, to make them, the audio of it. So, the early stuff, you can really hear what a mess I was. As time has gone on, I think I've gotten better at having normal conversations with people. Like before, I would have like questions written down, and before they finished answering the first question, I'd be already on to the next question, where if I shut the fuck up and listen a little bit, they're giving me another question and some of their answers,
Right.
and we're having a normal conversation,
Right.
So I've learned that along the way. But so I decided to do the podcast thing, and I'm like, well, what am I going to name the podcast? I'm trying to come up with something. And me and actually a buddy of mine that I served with, who's very funny guy, and I mean, we just played off each other like we were like, I guess, an Opie and Anthony type thing. When we were deployed, we kept all the guys entertained, how we would like play off each other with our wit and humor and stuff. And it was originally going to start it with him, and his life was just a little too hectic and busy, and he couldn't totally come on board with me. So then I became something that I've just been doing myself. But as I'm thinking of a name, I remembered during my last deployment, as I don't know if we were recording when I shared that earlier, if it was before we went on, but I even though I was like Intel admin, I hated being in an office, hated being behind a desk. There was more exciting things out in the sun. There's more exciting things
Right.
out in the sand, to do. I just sitting there and just like, I just needed to do more. And luckily we had enough staff that I had a good, I guess they're the CO and XO of our company or whatever. And they're really laid back and cool. And I got along great with them too. So I'd be like, oh, you have to go to so-and-so today? Well, you should have one of your admin staff with you. I should probably go with you, and talk my way into like riding along with them to get out of the office. And the ones that are senior to me are stuck doing the work, and they're like, where's he going? you know, and then finally I'd be like, hey, I think they need more people over there. I should probably go help them, or I should, you know. And so it got to the point where they're just like, all right, let him go. He's still serving the mission somehow. He's doing something, you know, let him go. You know, they quit fighting with me. And one of my senior chiefs one morning, just when I came in, he's just like, so what's today's boondoggle going to be, Bailey? You know, and I remember that, and I just like laughed because that's when I knew it's like, I guess maybe I kind of won, you know, and that was his admitting defeat, like let him fucking go, you
Right.
know. But at the same time, it was like that sounded like a cool name, and yeah, I guess when I forget uh, the exact definition when I finally look up boondoggle, but it's like some sort of plan, you know, or idea that's destined to fail, which probably isn't a good thing if you want to start like a small business or a, you know, a
Right.
podcast to
Right.
name it today's boondoggle. But I
Hey,
like the way it sounded, and a lot of the things we talk about are a lot of failures too, you know,
right. Right.
failures that end up becoming successes and
So
wins.
speak on that success, because you got a pretty decent following. Do you track your downloads or interactions or anything like that?
I haven't so much. I've more like looked at like, you know, likes on social media or on the YouTube channel and stuff like that. And then that would kind of bum me out because it's not where I would want it to be.
Right.
But I also realized how much, even if it's just me and 5 people, how much it's helping me, you
Right.
know. So I'm kind of doing
Yep.
this more as a selfish, I mean, I guess even if it was being successful, it'd be like, you know, a selfish thing, or like, you know, if it reached like Joe Rogan, you know, whatever status.
I don't think I want Joe Rogan status.
Yeah, I
That's
don't
too
think I
much.
want that either. But
That's too much. I
yeah,
just want to be I just want to be known as a guy that people can come to without judgment. That's all I want to
yeah,
know, you know? And it seems to be happening for me, and it's clearly happening for you as well. And I couldn't be happier for you. You know, when we go through our darkest days and our down times, and we think, you know, nothing's ever going to get better, and we decide to take that step and just say, I'm willing to change right now and see what's coming and take it that day by day. I think that's the greatest gift, is that we realize we really don't have a lot of control over a lot of
yeah,
things in our own life. And to have, I'm not going to say count on me, but to count on me to listen without judgment and give them my experience and how I got through it and maybe help them through it is good enough for me, because I remember how alone I felt sitting in my truck with that loaded 45, ready to give up 8 years of sobriety, chuck a bottle of Jack and blow my head off. And, you know, because I just wanted to end the pain. Well, the pain was myself. I was putting all these restrictions on myself and not allowing me to be me, because I was harboring so many other things. To be able to just speak and to get it out. And you'll notice, you know, I think there's 58 episodes now for me. You'll notice at the beginning, a lot of them were negative moments, right? The coffee pot incident, the head on into a truck thought process, the darkest day. And now all I want to do is share these awesome stories of people that I met and the awesome stuff that they're doing, just to show people that, look, man, you can get through it. You know, you can get through it.
yeah,
It might not be the way you want to, but you're going to get through it, and you're going to be better than you were before. You really are.
yeah. Well, one of the hugest things for me on this journey too is like, you know, I'm always I try and be as transparent as I can, you know, when I'm talking to people. A lot of times, you know, there's an agenda, you know. It's like, okay, if the PR person's going to let you talk to this musician, you got to cover this album coming out and this tour, or, you know, so there's the bullet points that I have to fulfill, and I try and do with them. But along the way, I try and pull the curtain back to learn about the person, and 9 times out of 10, they've all been pretty comfortable to open up about stuff because I'm being vulnerable and open up about.
Right.
So I'm always open about, I'm a guy in recovery now. And there's a guy that that's actually been a huge life changer in me and my journey in music and recovery. And I don't think he would mind if I mentioned his name because he shares his story on my podcast. So it's out
As
there.
long as you don't tell me it's Ivan Moody from Five Finger Death Punch.
No, I haven't had the chance to have him on. I mean, I have some friends now that are in that circle, but they haven't been on yet, so I'm not going to share
There you go.
their stuff. But
So who is it? Who is it? Everybody wants to know. I know they're all
my
screaming
friend,
there. Get to the point. Tell me who it is.
Yeah. So I interviewed this guy, Renee Mata is his name. He's works for a record label, lives in New York, and he also sings for this band Reach NYC. And I call him the Kevin Bacon of rock and roll because he's like somehow connected to like everybody in music. And it is pretty amazing. But I had him on, and just like we were talking, I always open about being, I'm asking the questions about the single coming out and the album and hitting the bullet points and whatever, but I'm sharing that I'm a guy who's in recovery and some of the things that I've learned on my journey. And then he felt comfortable enough to open up about his recovery on my show. And he said on my show, so I don't think I'm giving any, betraying any anonymity or whatever, but he shared on he had a relapse after he was good friends with Chester Bennington from Linkin Park.
Yeah.
And he relapsed after after we lost Chester. And then he had some friends in the music pull him in the music community, pull him back out and give him something to do on Friday nights. And he started running a Zoom meeting. And then, like I said, we clicked and formed a friendship, and he invited me to that world. And now it's like what I was always trying as when I was my addict and my selfish self in the music world, how you always got to work an angle and get in with these people,
Yep.
So how it can benefit you and stuff. What I was always the superficial shit I was trying for in the past, that sometimes maybe I experienced some victories, but were they really victories? Because did I really form relationships and friendships with these people then? Probably not. But now, because of him and his heart, and I love the guy dearly, he's invited me into a world with where I have that now with
Right.
a lot of these men. And, I try not to like mix the podcast with, we're there for meetings. So I don't try and like, hey, you want to be on? Can I get you? I would love to have half these people on, or all of them basically. Some of them have asked and been on, but anyway, regardless, it's like, I'm forming friendships and bonds
Right.
now with these people because of this guy. And I'm just like, all because we're just trying to help each other stay sober,
Yep.
and
I do.
I am just so grateful to him for that. And I've noticed from doing the podcast and my relationships to go into their meetings and forming with these guys. Because at the beginning, I'm kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe that's I listen to their shit. Oh my God, and getting through that, the fanboy stuff and letting it out and being like, dude, this is just another drunk trying to stay sober like me.
That's it. That's it.
And
Yep.
and I realized the more I just treated them like a normal AA guy trying to stay sober, that they liked me more,
Yes.
And
yeah, they're more willing to talk to you
yeah,
because you're not out for something for yourself. I've met a certain individual who was big in the racing world in 80s and 90s, beginnings of 2000s, and he himself is an addict, an alcoholic, and he ended up having a hotel room right next to mine when we were racing one time, and it's just a normal hotel room. We are literally in a Motel 6 type environment, and he's out back having a cup of coffee and a cigarette.
And I just walked out back with a cup of coffee and I said, hey, you mind if I sit down? And I shared a cup of coffee with them. And, you know, you can be a fanboy all you want, but when you realize that they're just individuals too, trying to make their life, and you can share the trials and tribulations of your life, how they compare to theirs and theirs compares to yours, you realize they're just trying to be a better human being themselves. That's it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to overuse it. You don't want to overstep your bounds. I mean, have I asked those guys that I know to be on my show? Absolutely. Have any of them come on? No, not yet. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I can still send them a text message. They'll still respond. You know, and it's normal stuff. Saw this about you. Hope you're okay. You know, congratulations on this, whatever. Just keeping that line of communication open.
Yeah.
That's it, because you never know who you're going to need someday. You just don't.
And it's like, you know, the relationships that I've been able to have now. I mean, you know, getting a Happy New Year text from, you know, somebody that whose music I've been a fan of for years is just like, wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
And or just saying, dude, I love you. I appreciate, you know, or, you know, them are reaching out and them shooting me that, you know, like, we had, you know, one guy that, you know, no one else was able to help. And I was, because of where I am strategically located, you know, from our group, and everybody was, you know, and because you know, and it's just what we do anyway, even it was, you know, whoever it is, it's a, you know, in recovery, that's part of our circle, you know. But being able to be there and be of service and spend that time, it's like, now it's like I got a new brother for life now, another brother for life, you know.
Yep. I agree.
And I'm just totally grateful. And like, you know, a lot of people, you know, at the end of 2022, like, oh my God, I'm so glad this year's over. You know, all those people, this year sucked. And this year, man, I had a great 2022, and I'm pretty
I had a
stoked
good time.
I'm pretty stoked about 2023, man. I mean,
Absolutely.
the more, like you said, with the karma, with what we do, you know, the more it's true, man. The more I put out, the more has been coming back, where it's just
Right.
like so many other, you know, we were talking about the numbers on my podcast earlier, and it's like, it's not where I want it to be. And like, I even have my finance guy that does my 401k listening and stuff, but he's like, we got to find a way to monetize this. And I'm like, when it becomes work and a job, I'm not going to like it.
I'm not doing it
You
anymore.
know, I'm
That's
not,
right.
it's not going to be fun for me anymore. Right now, I'm doing it. Now, if something comes along the way, you know, I'm not going to turn it down, but at the same time, it's just like, that's not my purpose for doing this.
Right. That's
This
not
is
why I'm in
a
this.
part
That's
of
not
a
why I'm in
healing
this.
journey for me. And, you know, another reason why I do it is because I remember when I was deployed, back when podcasts were at the beginning, you know, my friends back here in Cleveland started a podcast, and I would listen to them, and I'd lay in my rack, and they would share funny stories from us in high school that I was involved with. And I felt like I was back home. It took me away out of that moment, and made me feel like I was home with my friends, and I'm laughing, and everybody's like, what the hell is this dude? He's losing it in there, you know, in my headphones, like laughing and shit, you know. But I want my podcast to be able to be that for our deployed brothers and sisters too, you know.
That's
I want them to be
awesome.
able to listen, because I always at the end ask them, do you have a message for our military members serving overseas? So if it's a musician they're a fan of, if it's a entertainer or an athlete, whoever I'm talking to that they're a fan of, and they're listening in on, and then they get a personal message from them, you know.
Yeah. That's
that
really cool, man.
hopefully will
That's really cool.
motivate them while they're over there, you know.
Well,
That's another purpose.
let's send some people to your podcast. How can people find you?
Well, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple, I'm on iTunes, Apple Podcasts or whatever, Google Play, you know, all the major ones, Spreaker, Anchor is
Anchor's your big one.
Yeah, Anchor's the app I use, and it distributes it to Spotify and Apple and all those.
Sure.
It's been an awesome tool that a friend of mine connected me with. And but if you want to watch the videos, that since I now recently doing videos, I'm trying to build up my YouTube following. Although I've had a couple that YouTube put me on timeout.
I
They
see.
didn't
Yeah,
like
I
some of the stuff
remember.
we were talking about.
I remember.
You know,
Yeah.
so I also have a Rumble channel to combat the YouTube stuff. So if you're into Rumble and you like, you know, censor-free stuff or BitChute, I'm on there too. It's not all, you know, UFOs and aliens and white supremacists or whatever the media is telling you, you know.
There is some
Uh,
educational shit on there, but it's
Yeah,
just the today's boondoggle, right?
either Today's Boondoggle or Today's Boondoggle podcast. Just search in the you know, whatever platform you're comfortable using with, and you'll see like the little anchor symbol. It says Today's Boondoggle. And yeah, go in the archives, man. Enjoy some of them. I've had some,
Absolutely.
you know, I've talked with Charlie from Anthrax. I've talked to you know, UFC fighters I've had on there, Devontae Kincaid Smith. I've had you know, just all different walks of life, because, you know, of where my journey's taken me. And we do some, you know, we do some side special edition episodes, like you were saying, because my adult ADHD has me on all kinds of shit where, you know, my one buddy Flo White and me get together and we do like news articles that you won't hear in the mainstream news, you know, and
Right.
we
Right.
might dip our toes into some conspiracy theory type stuff, you know. So, you know, if you're not about that, then you probably don't want to listen to those episodes. But you know, but you know, some people find it entertaining. I've had Flat Earth Dave on my podcast, and this dude, you know, will try and he gives a whole presentation. You got to watch the YouTube version for his presentation of why the earth is flat. You know, I told him I still believe the earth. I like the earth like my women, you know, round, you know, with globes and curves. But you know, that's just me, you know.
Hey, I like it. Listen, Bill, we're coming up on 2 hours, and I'm pretty confident you and I could probably do another 2 hours of this. But let's save that for another time when you got some big news to share, and you just want to come back on and chit chat. We'll do that. But check out Bill and Today's Boondoggle podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and check him out on his YouTube channel, Today's Boondoggle.
Yeah,
Like
hit
and
me up on social
subscribe.
media too,
Heck
man.
yeah.
Instagram, Today's Boondoggle, you know, Twitter, Facebook, trying to build up those numbers as well. And then
Absolutely.
My website is domaincle.com, and that'll send you to all those.
Great. I'll put that in the show notes as well. So that's on there. Domaincle.com.
Yep.
All right, buddy. Listen, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll have this out this week, and we'll tag you and put you everywhere you need to be. And maybe you'll get a few more listeners from a couple people that listen to mine. I think I only have 6 people listening right now, but hey, maybe one of them will come over to you.
And I mean, yeah. And like I said, I do veterans on there all the time too, sharing some amazing vet stories, you know, like,
well, yeah, my amazing vet stories.
Yeah, your amazing vet story.
On.
I think it was episode 210.
Yeah.
So, you know, go back and check them out, man.
Yeah, please do. Listen, Bill, again, thank you very much. I appreciate it, my friend. You've got my number and my email if you ever need to reach out.
Yeah, when the weather gets better, man, I think I'll make a trip down.
You should, man. May 5th.
Since we're still in the same state, you know.
Do it.
So.
May 5th in Masson, Ohio. Save 22 is going to have their annual hike. It's going to be bigger and better than ever this year. So
all
come
right,
on down and see me. We'll have local musician Eric Brook and his band playing from 12 to 4. So
all right, sounds
be
good,
at the
man.
Eagles in Masson. I'll be sure to send you an invite somehow. Okay.
All right, sounds good, brother.
All right, buddy. Take care of yourself.
All right, you too.
See ya.
Feeling down, never felt this down before. It's got my mind racing, thinking thoughts I shouldn't be thinking. So many things went wrong, so many friends have gone. I've been hurting for so long, but I won't give up, I won't quit. I'm not snuck up behind me. Can't do what I want to, just try